So hello everybody. This is the fun part for me when I can zoom and talk to the person and show you the person that you just heard. And as you all know, we get a little bit personal on these. It's not about the business of travel or the business of aging or the business of aging and travel. It's about our personal lives and what we see in the world. And Joy Loverde is somebody who lives a life where her business is aging, but like everybody else on the planet, we're also simultaneously aging. So thank you so much for being with us today, being candid with us. How do you gave us a little hint about how important your social network is to your aging, but is that the primary? I mean, what has been informed your better health and your better aging personally?
Socializing is my number one. But I'm very careful about the people that I am with because they're like-minded like I am. They're very positive. They tend to be uh, concerned about what they eat, what they drink, and exercise is really important. So there isn't a lot of people in my life who dwell on being sick. So there's that. We
Right?
don't get together and talk
Positivity.
about it. They're absolutely positive. But I have a very strong spiritual life, and that's really important to me. So I am a member of a Catholic church, actually one of the oldest Catholic churches here in Chicago, where
Yes.
my mother came here from Italy and went to that school as a grade school kid, and here I am 90 years later at the same church.
Fantastic. Spirituality is something I used to talk about a lot when it came to my other show, Generation Bold. But when it comes to travel, we haven't done that yet. And yet I took a pilgrimage, and I took a pilgrimage with a Catholic group to Fatima, to Portugal. And it was quite something to see. And then recently I went back to Fatima without the pilgrimage people. It was a completely different experience. It was a cultural experience, not a spiritual one. But what are you seeing, though? I mean, look, let's face it. Sometimes spirituality or religion is a dirty word. You say that, and everybody recoils and says, "No, we don't want to put ourselves in that group." Is it true that you get more spiritual as you age? Are you seeing that with people?
Everybody's different, but here's when it really pops up is when you are seriously diagnosed with something.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of grappling and a lot of fear with nowhere to put it and no one to well you could find people to talk to about it. There are therapists all over the place, but from a spiritual context, to talk about the inevitability where we are all going requires a spiritual director of some kind. And I'm not talking about a religion. I'm talking about someone who could guide our thoughts in an entirely different way. That's what spirituality is. Who am I? Who am I now? What was it all about? Where am I going? Have I done it all? Do I have any regrets? Why? What should I do? These are all spiritual, deep questions. And the people that I know that suffer so badly, unfortunately, in old age are the people who don't have a grasp on their spiritual life. And
And
of course, it's all self-defined. So I'm not talking religion.
but religion helps because religion is, or as I call it, organized religion. Uh, the value of that is you know where to go. The value of
Yeah.
organized religion is there's a building, there's a person, there's a group, there's a name. And
That's
it's
right.
something that we tend, particularly as baby boomers that grew up in the summer of love generation, and saw prejudice coming out of religion. I mean, let's face it, there was a reason that many of us stepped away from religion, and that was we just saw it as confining. Uh,
Or other reasons,
yeah,
other serious reasons.
yeah, and some very serious reasons. So, but we do tend to want to find that spirituality again. Maybe it's nature. Maybe we call it something
Right.
else. But wellness travel is now becoming in the travel industry. The wellness concept is now morphing into a spirituality concept.
I'm
So
happy to hear that.
it's true. People are not just going away for yoga or just going away, but they're going away, and not only for meditation, they're going away to find something internally that is awe. The new word in travel is awe-inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it is a building, like, the Sagrada by Gaudi, which is a church. So there are just so many things that are happening around our longevity. So let's go again back to you here. You have a circle of friends and you cultivate it. You cultivate them very carefully. What if one of your oldest friends, and I've been hearing about this a lot, does become toxic? All of a sudden they become the curmudgeon you don't want to hear about. Everything's a complaint. Everything's about their gallbladder. They don't want to do anything new. Do you get rid of old friends? I mean, it's a real issue. It's a real issue for some
That's
people.
right. Well, I'm there now with one person I know, and I love her in spite of it.
Yeah. So you don't.
No,
No.
I can't get enough of her, even in her misery. And now remember, I do a lot of humor. Humor gets me through just about everything, and so I won't abandon this person ever.
There's an old article, I might re-put it on my blog, called "Don't Get Rid of Toxic Friends So Soon." And it's really about how to live with that, because every friend counts. I mean, after a while, you begin to be able to count on one hand with regard to that. All right, now let's get a little bit more general. So you look at people all the time that are aging or in the world of aging, professionals in the world of aging. Let's turn the light on those professionals. And who am I talking about? I'm specifically talking about owners of assisted living communities, owners, operators of nursing homes, even doctors that specialize, and there aren't too many, in geriatrics. Do they get it? I still feel that everybody looks at me like I'm a patient.
Some do, some don't. Most don't. But then in both of my books, I talk about standing up for, if you see something, you say something on how you're being treated. Yes. So we are forever training people. I don't care if they're a professional or someone at Walgreens behind the counter, bringing up your order. Right. We're constantly training people how to be with us. So it's more critical, of course, in a healthcare setting. So I'm the first one to make a mention. I don't appreciate you even calling me a patient. My name is Joy, and you can call me that.
I have a routine called "You look good for your age," and I hate that phrase because you look good for your age. You look good. Well, maybe that's the way you're supposed to look. Maybe just other people look bad for their age. And why don't you say that? Because they see the minute they hear 75 or 76, in my case, it's, oh, you look good for your age, because they think I'm supposed to look like this. That's but no, they don't know what's true. Right. Yeah.
So when someone says that to me, I say thank you. And I say that, and then I let them know how old I am. And then they go, oh, okay. And I say, well, this is what a 72-year-old looks like.
I bought a T-shirt for my mom, and it said, "This is what 90 looks like."
Exactly. Yeah, that's all.
But I will say that we didn't make that up. We have great stars that said, "Oh, you look great for 40," and they started to wear a T-shirt. I think Gloria Steinem was the first one. Johnny Carson said, "You look great for 40," and she said, "This is what 40 looks like." Yeah. So that is part of the ageism that we're trying to stop in travel by actually having staff training for people so they understand. But let's go back to that. I mean, let's take some responsibility. Boomers are aging differently. You talk about it all the time. And so it's hard for the consciousness or culture to catch up with us fast enough, because we are so busy and out and active. And it does look a little like, gee, they're doing great for their age, because only one generation ago, we shouldn't have been, and we weren't doing things like that. So do you think the culture is catching up to the way we're really aging?
we have a long way to go regarding the American culture, but people who are willing to be voice their concerns and are able to articulate it are doing the best they can. We can only affect one person at a time, and there's a whole big world out there.
So you know, GARP is an organization for older adults' rights, and they say nothing about us or nothing about old people without old people. So the same idea, we should have an input in everything that affects us, and we really don't. Even AI stops at about age 60. You really don't even get artificial intelligence about data for people over the age of 70. So, you know, marketers, people who create technology, they don't even know who we are because we're not even being monitored. No. So, but what have you seen lately? What's anything that's lit you up in the field, whether it's technology or builders or a book that you said, gee, you know, things are really great. This is something everyone should know about.
You know, where I'm seeing a little bit of movement, and again, it is because the people who are moving in is the life plan communities. They're beginning to evolve into environments of learning and health, no matter what your circumstances. But remember, I've been going around the country telling people, if you're going to move into this place and you want to do something and they don't currently offer it, tell them you won't move in until they do offer it. And so it's a two-way street. They don't know what we want, and we're not asking for what we want.
So now you talk about life planning communities. Is that what I would call intentional communities, people getting together themselves, or is it something else?
A life plan community used to be called a continuing care retirement community.
CCRC.
But they changed the brand because who in the heck wants to move into a continuing care place, right?
Right.
But life plan, I'm all for it.
Got it.
They had a branding problem. But now that they changed it, now they have to walk their talk.
Right. So now one of the things that I have found for my own aging that's helped me a lot is volunteering. And I volunteer at the Art Museum, I volunteer for the United Nations, and I have something called the Ageless Ambassador Program, where people can volunteer, go to other countries and volunteer. Now, is that one of the things that the life planning communities are looking at? Opportunities to give back, not just to get, but to give back.
They do have travel programs, but I don't think they are as robust as they should be. So I'm going to tell everybody I know in the business that they need to call you.
Yeah, they should call me. There's no doubt. But even traveling, even volunteering where they are.
Right.
Yeah, I recently did a show with AmeriCorps Senior, and they have 140,000 volunteers. And I asked them, how many of those volunteers are in communities, senior residences? Very few, because it's not a culture. So it would be wonderful if it was a culture. Forget about travel for a minute, but in the life planning community, that the ability to easily volunteer would be there. Are you seeing it yet?
Yeah, well, the boomers are coming, and they are already here in these environments. And you know, we don't take life sitting down.
No.
When I talk to groups of people, I kind of like wave a magic wand and say, "Tag, you're it. You get to have what you want. All you have to do is go. If you're thinking about going anywhere, ask for what you want." So that's very new. Generations before us, right? They just walked in the door and said, you know, I'll eat here and sleep here, and that's about it, right? We are so not aging like that generation.
No,
so we're going to be raising the roof, as they say.
Yeah, you know, I have a course out. It's called Speak Out Communication, and it's for older adults to be able to do just what you said, which is speak out, particularly in healthcare. It's not the only place, but even as volunteers, we get marginalized. The staff is young. They think we don't know how to do anything. We have to fight the staff. My daughter said to me the other day, she didn't like the way the staff talks to me in one of the places I volunteer. And I said, I know that, but I'd rather help than, you know, be upset. But one of those places is definitely healthcare. I'll give you a small story and then I'll ask for your story. So my father died when I was 11. Everybody knows that this is something I carry with me. And he died of a cerebral hemorrhage. So there is a way to find out if you're going to have one. It was something that was always on my mind, that I would die in an instant at any, he was 42. So it's called an MRA. Everybody knows MRI is an MRA. So they took the MRA and I'm fine. But here's what the report said. This woman has an unremarkable brain. Now, we all know I have an unremarkable brain, but with a slight amount of atrophy, the word was atrophy, she's fine for her age. And I went berserk. And I went to the neurologist and I said, what do you mean I have a little atrophy and I'm fine for my age? Are you assuming that we should all have an atrophied brain? And he said, you don't have any. It's for liability purposes. Everybody over the age of 75, we say that in case something happens to them. We put it in our record, no matter what the brain is. If you're over 75, they cover themselves.
Yeah.
I was hysterical, so angry. And he tried to appease me by telling me, by making it worse. He told me all the places in kidneys and everything, bladder, where you're fine, really fine, not fine for your age, just fine. But they add for your age to cover themselves, because this is very upsetting. And so I spoke up, and I don't know if it's going to have any effect. It probably won't, but it was good for me. Have you encountered things that really makes you angry?
I do what you do, and that is I say something in the moment, and I try to say it in a calm way. Sometimes I don't. I'm Italian. I don't always say it in a calm way. But I don't let things go. And that's what I'm hearing from you. And that as role models, we must not let things go. We must say something in the moment to grasp a learning opportunity for the other person. And that's how we're making a difference, one person at a time.
I agree. And I will say that it gives us a lot of responsibility that a lot of people don't want. But if there's a lot of ageism out there, we have to recognize the part that we play in it. And I got a big revelation the other day at a study that the NIH did, and it was called Learned Helplessness, where people treat you as helpless and you become helpless. Have you seen?
I wrote about that in the Complete Elder Care Planner. That is very, very important, because caregivers approach the role to assume and then deliver upon helplessness. Like your mom and you are watching TV and mom says, please get me a glass of water. And you hop out of your comfortable chair and you go get her a glass of water, when a walk to the kitchen sink would do her good.
Yep.
Right? You say, oh, I'm sorry, Mom, but I'm really comfortable and really into this show, but you're perfectly capable of getting water yourself. So please go ahead.
Fascinating. Well,
now my mom, it takes a couple of times, but then when I would do that with my mom, after a while, she would start a conversation like, hey, would you? And then she'd laugh and she'd say, oh, I know what you're going to say. Do it yourself.
Right. Well, that might be the way that we ended. So here we're talking about somebody who really knows about aging in every aspect. And what she says is do it yourself. Okay.
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself. All right. Thank you so much, Joy. And of course, you all know where to find her books now. You've seen the pictures of the books. But what you may not know is that there's going to be an ebook that we're putting out in the next couple of months, where you'll be hearing more of the wisdom about very travel oriented. Of course, her new book, Who's Going to Take Care of Me When I'm Old, is going to be part of that too, because it's for the solo person and therefore possibly for the solo traveler. And thank you so much. And thank you so much for being with us today, Joy, and doing
You're
all that you do.
welcome. I'm so excited about what you're doing. I want to always stay in touch, and I want to learn more.
We will do so.
Great.
Take care.